Hey y'all, so I feel like well, okay. First of all, I'm starting off. Trigger warning, just in case I do see something that is triggering. I don't think I will, but just in case, trigger warning. Um, so I know I touched a little bit on my last video because that wasn't what the video was supposed to be about this whole child support thing. So basically, reading is fundamental. Like, people should learn how to read. And two, pretty sure it's some type of slander or defamation or whatever. I might be wrong about that, to go around speaking on my name and saying stuff that isn't true. So that's two. So basically what happened is that I had to, unfortunately, because I'm not working, and I was working for a little bit when I was pregnant, but she was pressing on my sciatic nerve, so I had to stop working. And in order for me to afford a place, an income-based apartment on my own, I had to unfortunately apply for cash assistance. So because I had to do that, there's a lot of crap from my husband, and it's annoying because not like, I wish things were different. Like, I wish we had a good marriage. It was good for about all of 2 seconds, but like almost literally all of 2 seconds. But unfortunately, he doesn't know how to be faithful. And yes, I know somebody's gonna say it in the comments, because I had got a comment before, not about this particularly, but about like him being my husband. Yes, legally in the state of Florida, he is responsible for my child. However, if he would have read his paperwork, I am not getting him for child support. I am getting her father for child support because I'm on cash assistance. If I didn't need cash assistance, I wouldn't have even did the whole child support thing, because her dad and I have an agreement. But as I told her dad, I was like, unfortunately, I do have to be on cash assistance until I get a job, and now I'm starting school, so that's 2 years at most possible child support, or cash assistance help or whatever, that I'm gonna need, because like I'm looking, because I don't have transportation like that. I have to get my son from school and to school, so that limits my time. In total a day, I spend 2 hours going to get him and pick him up. Going to drop him off and pick him up from school. So that takes up a chunk of my time, because he has to be there by 8 o'clock. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I have to get up by 3:30. On Wednesdays I have to get up by 1:30. So it takes up a chunk of my time. And with that, like, yeah, I could work, but then there's not many jobs where I could do, let's say I get home like 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Like, there's not that many jobs that I've seen. If somebody knows any jobs, and put in the comment that's work from home that I could do that with, that's legit, then do that. Where I could work within those schedules, and then my classes are from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So by the time I get home, it's 4 or 5 o'clock, and then I have class until 10 p.m. So, except for Wednesdays. Well, Wednesdays is kind of the same, except for I go to a parenting group. It's not like a parenting class, and we just talk about different topics. It's called a parent cafe. And I choose to go because who doesn't need support? Like, I don't really have any support here. Like, I love my daughter's grandmother. I do. I love her to death. She is amazing. She is an amazing grandmother. Like, I love her to death. That lady is a saint. She is, and I know she feels bad about not being able to do what she can do for my daughter, for her other grandkids, but you know, she's sick. So he got papers, and if he would have read them, when I went to go get information this morning, as today's September 2nd, 2024, I went to go get information because I was like, let me go and find out what is actually going on. So he got papers to say he needs to go take a DNA test to prove whether or not he is. We all know he's not the father. Logically, physically, it's not possible. One, because we never actually had sex. He thought we did during our marriage. Two, I wasn't even in the state of Florida when I got pregnant. I was in Minnesota, and I came back to Florida near the end of my pregnancy. So ain't no way in hell you're her daddy. And three, not that it really matters, but he's white. Like white, blue eyes, not blonde hair, but base, you know what I mean. Like, he's not. And her dad and I are both black. Her dad's like half Indian, I believe. It doesn't matter. Her dad and I are both black. She is a wonderfully black queen princess. But yeah, so honestly, and like when I went to church, I didn't even go to church for it to be, for me to like confront anybody. I went because I wanted to go to church, because I've been saying like I needed to bring my kids to church more. So it wasn't even like I was going to start any drama, because I wasn't. Yeah, but inside the sanctuary is too loud, so I sit in like the lobby area of the church, and you can see like what the pastor's saying, because they have like TV monitors, because they record their church service. The church that I normally go to, I have to take 2 buses, and I have to leave way earlier. Unfortunately, as of right now, that's just not possible for me. So inconvenience of going to church, that is the church that I go to. And unfortunately, it's his family, and you know, whatever. But I speak, I say hi, and I keep it moving. The last time I went, I did like talk about some stuff that was going on in the house, and I like brought some stuff up, and according to what I've been told, they think I'm being negative, and I don't know what's actually going on because I'm not at the house anymore. And I'm like, that doesn't just like dispute the fact that they're treating the dad wrong, but that's a whole different subject. So anyway, reading is fundamental. He just went around saying that, oh, I'm putting him on child support for a kid that's not his, and I'm trying to get money out of him. I'm trying to make him take care of a kid that's not his, and that's just not true. Like, I'm not. I know there's people out there like that, but I'm not like that. I could have took him to court for all the stuff that he said over the years, but it's just not worth my time. And as I've said to him repeatedly, when he first brought up the conversation of divorce, when he was going on saying he wanted to get a divorce, one, I was still in the house. He wanted to get a divorce because I moved out of our room that we shared into another room in the house, because 2 things happened. One, he still is to this day talking to females and telling females and sending females money. 2, my son was in the bed with, he was playing with my son, and then he like pushed my son off the bed onto the floor, and that was like, you know what, I'm not doing that. So I moved out of the room, and then I was able to move out of the house completely, like a few months to a year later. And then unfortunately I lost my job, so then I lost my apartment, and then I moved to Minnesota to be with her father. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself because it's supposed to be a timeline of my marriage. So we met prior to July of 2021, maybe like almost a month. It was like 5 weeks. We did get engaged and married really fast. And I say this, like, sometimes stuff like that does work out. In this case, it did not. Yeah. So when we did that, I met him. We met on, I believe it was tagged. We met on. It was a dating site online. And he, you know, the total opposite of what he's doing now. Like, he was sweet, he was this, he was that. Red flag number one that I meant, like, I completely dismissed was the fact that a girl called me on Messenger because we had, like, first of all, not every relationship status I have post on Facebook is true. Like, I do that sometimes because I just don't want to be bothered with people like, oh my gosh, you're single, let me date you. Like, I don't really want to be bothered with that. So I have friends, even like to this day, like her dad and I, we put that we're in a relationship on Facebook and we're not. But I get tired of getting asked out. And it's just a Facebook relationship. Like, the only relationship that's actually true is the one where I have on the Facebook page that he's on, where it says me and him are married. That's the only thing. And actually, he probably took it off right now. Knowing him, he probably did. So it really doesn't even matter. So we met. I did not know he didn't have a license. So when I drove up to the trailer park that they lived in right before they moved into the house, he was like, oh, let me show you this house that I just bought. And he was like, yeah, he was so excited to show me this house. So he took off without telling his parents. We took off in their car, and I didn't know it was their car. I thought it was his car because he lied and said that he had his license. And took me to the house. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Was it his car or was it? It might have been my car. It might have been my car. No, he took off in their car and then I followed him in my car. And so he showed me the house, whatever, that's fine. They moved in July, because we got married July 21st or 28th. So we moved in prior to that. Like, it was before 4th of July because they spent 4th of July in the house. I gotta put you down, Mama. You always crying and I didn't do nothing to you. So we all moved in at the same time. So he apparently said that, like, I moved in after them. I was like, no, I moved in when they moved in. So when they moved in, I moved in. We all moved in at the same time. And we got married at near the end of July. If I could find our marriage license, I'll post it with like the date or whatever. I didn't keep track of that. I left it. I believe he still has the actual copy of our marriage license along with our wedding photos. There's photos on Facebook, but yeah. So when I had left, I just packed up most of my belongings. There was still some belongings in the house because I wasn't able to take everything with me. Like, I still had a majority of like clothes and stuff, like rented clothes and stuff. This is all according to the other person in the house. They was like, oh, when they heard that I moved to Minnesota, they grabbed everything I had left in the house and threw it away. And I was like, why would you do that? Why would you not, like, contact me to make some arrangement for me to get the stuff? Like, my plan wasn't for the stuff to stay there, like, an infinite amount of time. Like, at some point I was going to go and get it. I just had to get my stuff situated to do that. So, and according to sources, and I'm saying that because I didn't personally hear him say this, but he was really happy. He was really happy when he learned that I lost my place and I had got evicted and I had lost my job, which is ironic because now he's going through a whole foreclosure because he can't pay his bills because he's sending bitches money. And I'm pretty sure not all of them are nasty. Some of them are nice. Okay, so we got married in July. August. Yeah, August, is when I started seeing him. First of all, I wasn't even mad the first time I caught him texting another female, because it was plain as day that it was a fake account. Like, it was like a robot, or like one of those fake accounts, spam accounts, or whatever you want to call it. It was very clear to me that it was a fake account. Very clear. So I wasn't even mad. I was more mad at the fact that, like, this is what you're doing when you're working overnight, which I believe that's why he stopped working overnight. Also, he's a monkey see, monkey do type person. So he, you know, does stuff because other people are doing it. So I was like, whatever. The last straw, like I said prior, is when, always, like, I may seem like I'm doing stuff like out of spite, or like I just don't care, but I'm always trying to think about my kids. Well, then I just had my son. So coming to this relationship, I had my son. He was 2 going on 3 because his birthday is in July. So when I met him, he hadn't turned 3 yet. So he did that, and then I had, we went to go see my sister, because like I said before, like, my parents all passed before my son turned a year old. So like, she was having Labor Day or Memorial party or something or whatever, and we went up there. That whole trip was a disaster. His dad ended up putting like a whole racist post on Facebook. We had like a good patch, because like, he got slightly better at hiding what he was doing, so I didn't really see anything. And I'm not the type of person to go through your phone, but like, once you do something the first time, I'm gonna check periodically to make sure you're not doing it. And as they say, if you go looking, you'll find stuff. But at that particular moment when we took a trip, we were doing slightly better. I believe it was in August or September. I can't remember the exact, whatever. I'm really bad with like dates and holidays and stuff. Like, I'm not even aware it's a holiday until it's there. So yeah, like, I'm really bad. It's not because like I didn't pay attention in school. It's just not important to me anymore as it was when I was in school. So when so we got back from the trip, I literally drove maybe a little over 4 hours round trip, because we went up there for the housewarming for my nephew and his wife. Were they married then? Or did they get married after? I don't know. Anyway, they're married now, so I'm gonna call her his wife. So my nephew and his wife, they had a housewarming. We went up there. Then my sister had her little thing at her house. So that was like the next day, because we all went to the housewarming the day before. So they got an Airbnb in like a halfway point, and so we got it for like 1 night or 2 nights. And we did it that way. So the parents were complaining about not being home or whatever, so literally drove down and drove back up. They're complaining that the car was too high, and they kept rolling down the window, so it didn't give the car time, like, for the AC to actually work. So at one point I did lock the windows, because I was like, you're letting hot air into the car, and that's not helping cool down. So then in his dad's Facebook post, which if I could find it, I'll put it, because this was years ago, put it in the messages, and he was like, that boy, referring to my son, even went to sleep. First of all, kids fall asleep during car rides. Like, that's not, like, my son wasn't hot. Like, he just fell asleep during car rides. Like, he wasn't sweating. Like, I checked to make sure he was okay in the back seat with them. He wasn't sweating or anything. Then they complained about on the trip back that we didn't stop for breakfast. But I didn't know anything about stopping for breakfast because they were texting my husband. For all intents and purposes, the video refers to him as my husband. They didn't say anything to me, the driver. He wasn't driving. I was. They didn't say anything to me. So the whole trip back, we drove back to the house. So, so they complained about that. They're like, oh, we didn't even stop for food. She was starving us. And I'm like, you didn't even say anything to me. Later on, when I went through his phone, I see the messages, and his mom was like, are we going to stop for breakfast? And he was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to stop for breakfast. But there was like something said in the car, and I remember saying, is everything okay? He was like, yeah, everything's fine. I was like, okay. So I kept driving. And then I was playing music, but they're like holier than thou, even though they cuss and throw stuff and like talk bad about people, they still like to say that they're super Christian. I try to play music that wasn't really cussing, but like occasionally, like it was Pandora, so some things do slip through the cracks. I did have like the split version turned off, but there was like 1 or 2 songs that like I absolutely had to hear. One of them was Jesus Walks by Kanye West, and the other one was Hallelujah with T.I. And for whatever reason, it was like in my head, and I just had to get it out at that moment. So those are like the 2 songs that I played. I don't remember if I tried to get the clean version or if I played it without the clean version. But they complained about my music. First of all, it's my car. I do whatever I want in my car. Secondly, I did try to play some stuff that was K10, but I'm not going to sit through hours of driving listening to whatever type of gospel music they listen to, because it's not regular, well, what I consider regular gospel music, which is like Kirk Franklin, Mary, Fred Hammond, Yolanda Adams, stuff like that. Like D1, he's a Christian rapper. Like they just think like all, and I played some D1 too. I had like another Christian rapper. I don't know if you consider yourself a Christian rapper, but another Christian artist, YKD. Like I played his stuff. Like I didn't always have Apple Music, so I would literally download songs to my phone from my computer. So like I had stuff like I've liked over the years. Like over the years, like since I was a kid. Like that's a lot of music. So I tried to like filter out, make playlists for like when they're in the car with me, like clean stuff. Like I would title playlists like clean car ride or something like that. So I would try to play that stuff while I was in the car, so this way it's not playing like all my other stuff, like where it has like, you know, explicit lyrics and stuff like that. What, Mama? Your things aren't moving? Yeah. I know. Just give Mommy a second. Well, not a second, but so yeah. That was the first year of my marriage. It was like more and stuff like that. Like I should have walked away a long time ago, but like getting a divorce was never on the top of my list because my mom, because it never bothered me. Like if he truly wanted to go do it, he could have been did it. But he just does that whenever he gets a stick up his butt. So the first time he talked about getting a divorce, I think it was almost 2 years into our marriage, and he was like, he petitioned his sister-in-law, his oldest brother's wife, because he's the baby. So it's him, the middle brother, and the oldest brother's wife to go get the divorce papers, which I signed and he signed, and whatever he did with them, that was on him. So we could have been divorced 2.5 years ago, but that was on him. If he really was that serious about it, that's on him. And I just, whatever. So I moved out after that. Like I said, got my own place, whatever, moved to Minnesota. Was in my place for almost a year, so that's 2 years of our marriage. During that time, he was still telling me that he wanted to renew our vows. He wanted for us to have like a wedding or like a reception or whatever. He wanted us to do the whole thing. One thing his mom did say, like try to tell people, was like, oh, their pastor would not marry us, and that's not true. I was all fine for their pastor marrying us. I believe the pastor said we had to go through like a marriage course at his church or whatever, and he, I guess, just didn't want to do it, or we just decided not to do it. I don't quite really fully remember exactly specific details, but his pastor was willing to marry us. So that's not 100% true. Then he got behind on his bills. So I decided, like once I found out fully everything that was going on, I decided that I was going to be a helpful wife and take care of the girls. I was like, hey, you're behind the girls. The lights, this is like the third time the lights had been cut off, and like I was working, so like he didn't want me to pay anything. He was like, don't worry about it, I got it. Me and my dad have an arrangement. I was like, okay, cool. So the only thing I was paying for was like my car insurance and my phone bill and like food and stuff, because I wasn't I either was getting food stamps and I wasn't getting that much, so I still had to pay out of pocket for some stuff. So yeah. And like back then I was drinking a lot, like when I find myself stressed out or whatever, I would drink. But that's so yeah, I would spend money on my son and myself, and whatever. So he said that he was that. So I was like, okay, cool. So when he got behind, and I didn't know he got behind on a mortgage the first time. I didn't know about it until almost the third time. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take all the bills. So I was like, give me all your cards, give me your bank login information, give me your Cash App stuff. So I was like, the way how I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna set it up where you only have access to your Cash App. Just like, because he was sending money to YouNow. And he was just buying stuff he didn't need to get. Like when he first moved in, like when we were talking about him moving in, the city, he got the house to the city. So the city gave him a check to get a fridge. He chose not to use that money to get a fridge. He went to like Happy's or like Planet Center, like one of those places to get a fridge. And he didn't have to, because he literally had the money to get the fridge. I literally called somebody that I knew and found a fridge within the price range with all the stuff that he had to have. Like it couldn't have like the water thing. It just had to be like a plain fridge to get his fridge. And it had to be, I believe the check was like for $300. And I was like, you're gonna have to put like a little bit towards it, because I'm not sure how much the delivery is. But my friend said that they'll get it delivered to their store, and then you can pay for it and get it shipped to your house. They'll deliver it to your house. So, or I was like, I believe he was still moving, so I was like, if you still have the moving truck, you can put it on the moving truck and move it to your house. He didn't want to do that. Like I sent him all the stuff for that, and he didn't do it. He decided he wanted to spend that money on whatever he spent that money on. Like there's stuff that he tried to say like I wasn't there for, and I was like, you've only been in the house for 3 years. You've been married for 3 years. That we moved in the same day. Like that doesn't make sense to you. Because I moved out of my son's father's house, because prior to that I had lost my apartment due to I was working for a security job, and like they were messing with me and not putting me on the schedule for like different reasons. Like the dude that's the manager like wanted to date me, so like when he would catch an attitude or whatever, he would lie to the boss and say, oh, I can't do it because of this, this, and this. And I was like, that's not what I told you. But I'm just saying out for them now because that's what happened. Like, they just took me off the schedule. Whatever. It works out now because I don't have my car anymore, so I can't work for them. Because they require you to have transportation. Because there's sites that they send you to. Sometimes, most of the time, it's a construction site. Sometimes it's a store. So, and on top of that, I had to bring my son with me because, like, I had started sleeping at the house with a husband, but then stuff kept happening, and my son is not able to tell me, like, he can talk, but he wasn't able to tell me what happened. All he would say is, oh, his mom pushed me down. So I had to move my friend in because he needed a place to stay. And so I was like, you can watch him. But that ended up being the problem because he was ready to fight them because they would literally push my son out the way. So, like, I wasn't okay with that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take my son with me. And, you know, whatever. Even though I know my son was supposed to come with me, I'll take him with me. So that was like the first half of our marriage. This third, we just hit the third year, so that was 2 years. He's once again talking about he wants to get a divorce, and I'm like, dude, every time I ask you, every freaking time, you say that you don't want a divorce, you want to renew our vows, you want to do this, you want to do that, and I'm like, okay. And as I said before, like, getting a divorce is not on my mind. What's on my mind is my kids. Like, the divorce is at the bottom of my list. And he's in an uproar because he got served, not with child support papers, but with documents saying that to establish paternity, which we all know that's not his kid. Like, it's not physically possible. It's just not. So he's going around saying that I'm putting him on child support because that's not his, and that's not true at all. Like, I know there's people out there that would do that, but I'm not that type of person, and it's just annoying. So today I sent them a message, and I was like, hey, you know, this is what's going on, whatever. Because when I went to church, it was just really weird, really awkward. The sister-in-law, I guess, thought I was going to say something about it to her, and that's not even why I went to church. I went to church because I wanted to go to church, and it's, for me right now, that's the most convenient church for me to go to because it's one bus there, one bus back. I don't have to wait all day with my daughter to catch 2 different buses. When I do get a car, it'll be a different story, but as of right now, that's the most convenient church for me to go to. When we do get up on time, and we do, you know, I do try to get up on time, but unfortunately sometimes by the time we get up, their church is over around 12:30, 1 o'clock. By the time we do get up and get breakfast and get situated, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock, so we can't go to church. So, like, there's a gap in between when I went and talked to her about the situation with the dad and the gap between when I went to church this past Sunday. So, like, I had called him, like, earlier that day, and he was like, because, he, like, called me, and I was, like, getting frustrated because I had something going on with the computer that I got from school. So, when he called me, like, I was just frustrated. I was like, what, hello, what? So, like, he hung up. Like, he's that big of a baby, like, he'll just hang up and be like, and then he sent me a text. He's like, I wanted to call you again. I'm like, what? What? Like, what is it? So, he was like, I got these papers that I was like, just throw them away. They're not for you. It's for his ass. Just throw them away. They have nothing to do with you. I mean, they do because we're married, but they don't because we all know that's not his child. So, yeah, that's been, like, the thing going on. I'm just like, dude, I told you 1,000 times, like, we all know that's not your child. We all know this. I came back in December, and I had her in May, so December, January, February, March, April, and May. I had 5 months left for my pregnancy. So I was supposed to have her, like, the 28th, but they wanted me to have her at 37 weeks. So No, they changed it from the 28th to June 11th. So I was supposed to have her according to their system June 11th, but she wasn't growing like she was supposed to. So I had her at 37 weeks, which ended up being like May 24th. So it was, I had to go back to her house, but I was already in the process of getting my own place because I already was like, when I spoke to him, I didn't immediately come back to his house when I moved back. When I spoke to him, I was like, I really don't want to stay there because I don't want any issues. I don't want to deal with any drama. But I was like, would it be okay for me to come back to the house? I asked him. My second question was, is your girlfriend still in the house with you? Because right after I moved out, he moved somebody in, and it was somebody he met at his job. And he was like, no, she moved out, she's not there. So I get back, I stayed with like a friend of ours. That became an issue because she was just dramaed out, and I wasn't even trying to stay that long. Like, my goal was to get on my feet, get a job, work, save up money, move into an apartment. So didn't even do that. So when I first got back, I stayed in a hotel for 2 or 3 days. Then I stayed with a mutual friend of ours. And I used the term friend lightly, referring to them because we're not really friends. Like, we're friends, but we're not really friends. And then I moved in with him, and I was like, is it okay? Like, can you contact me? It's okay for me to come and stay with you because this issue over here, for whatever reason, even though I wasn't doing anything to them, like, I stayed to myself. I stayed in the room that we were in. I only came out to eat, and I stayed in the room. I kept my son in the room and only came out to like eat and to bathroom, take a shower, because I wasn't trying to be in anybody's way. But apparently that was an issue, or she had something going on with her wife or whatever, because she's always talking about she was about to get divorced from her and this, that, and the third, and whatever. So he got me, moved back in. So I asked again. I was like, is your girlfriend still at the house? He was like, yeah, she's still there. I was like, okay. Prior to this, she had like talked to him and said, was like, if I came back to the house, she would call DCF and whatever. She only called DCF because they got into it about something, because apparently he was telling her sweet nothings, but he was spending all this time with me, and I was just like, if that's what you want, do that. Like, I'm not stopping you. This isn't stopping you. Like, go ahead and do that. Like, we haven't said we were together in over a year and a half. Like, we had made this whole Facebook post saying that we're separated or whatever. And like, when he does say like we want to work it out, like sometimes I'll be like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. But because don't get me wrong, I still care. Like, I still, like, it doesn't go away. Like, I genuinely care and love him. That's not something that's gonna go away. But like, all the crap that comes with it, like the cheating, the sending females money, not paying bills, your house is in foreclosure, like, that's not something that, you know, I could, everybody has their limit and what they're gonna put up with. Like, if you did it 1 or 2 times, like, I would be like, okay, fine, it was a mistake. But to repeatedly do the same thing and then blame me for taking your money when you're sending money to females is not okay. Like, even though sometimes I would ask, it's okay, it's okay if I like got X amount of dollars, and it wouldn't even be like a high amount, it'd be like a low amount, like 10, 20, 5 to $1. Like, it would be a low amount. So he'd be like, yeah, that's fine. So how you got to that I was stealing your money, I don't know. Has he like to say they know that he's a liar, but it's still like an issue? I don't understand. Like, if you guys, I feel like if you had a question about something, or you felt that I was doing something to him, why not just come and ask me? You have my phone number, you have me on Facebook, just come and ask me. Like, even when he got the papers, apparently it was like a couple of days before he even said anything to me. And I was like, but before that, he just went around saying, oh, I'm putting him on child support, I'm putting him on child support. That's not true at all. Like, it's not true at all. So yeah, in regards to my marriage, like, I don't really think about it because I have other things to worry about. It's not because I don't care, it's not because I don't love him, it's just because I have so much to do for myself personally and for my kids. And I'm not perfect by any means. Like, yes, technically I cheated because I had my daughter while we were married, and that's all fine and well. But, like, I didn't put him on the birth certificate. He's not on, like, I didn't say, oh, I'm going to him for child support. First of all, that doesn't even make sense. You don't even pay your bills. And then me knowing that you don't pay your bills, I'm supposed to be the type of mean person to go after you for child support. That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, he doesn't pay his bills. On top of that, I talk to her father damn near every day, multiple times a day. Like, I'm in contact with her dad. It's not like, oh, I don't know who her dad is. Because there was like a comment that was made like, I better go find who her dad is. I was like, that doesn't make any sense because I told you from day one, like, who her dad is, where her dad is, and I'm not doing anything to you regarding this child or my son. So why would it then be a conversation about it when you're not even reading is fundamental? Like, I didn't think it would be possible for somebody to be that stupid, for lack of a better word, because he has limits, but he can read. Like, he likes for people to think that he's a lot stupid than what he is. He's very smart. He can read, he can write, he can do all this stuff. He just chooses not to. So, like, I mean, reading is fundamental. If you would actually read it, you know, I'm pretty sure all it said, because like I said, I didn't do anything. When I did my paperwork, I did all for her dad. So, but they did ask, like, if I was married or did I have the kids during a marriage, and I had to put that. But then there was a question on there, where did I get pregnant? And I put the state and city where I got pregnant and where did I have the kid, which was in Florida, because unfortunately that's where I had to come back to. Her dad and I were talking, and we're like, if things do work out or whatever, for me to, like, even, I don't want to move her away from her grandmother, but I also want her to be able to see her dad physically. So things do work out to where we can do that, you know, me moving closer or even moving back to Minnesota. So that could be a thing. But it's just, I don't like drama, and I feel like I'm always in the middle of drama. I feel like people who say they don't like drama, but then have dramatic people around them, find themselves in drama a lot, and that's basically the situation. And the comment did say, like, I can't trespass him, and I can, because it's my residence, it's not his. And if he does come with, like, bull crap, which he's not going to come over here, I don't believe he is, but I will get him trespass, because I just don't have time for that. Like, I try to live peaceful, I try not to bother anybody. Like, the old me would have been for the shits, but I try to do better every day. I try to do something better than I did before and try to be a better person. Nobody's perfect, we all make mistakes, we all fuck up, but try to be a better person. I mean, that's all you can ask for somebody, is try to do better. And that's what I do. I try to do better. One day I'm gonna get these videos down less than 40 minutes, but for right now it's not happening because I have a lot. Any other questions, you can put in the comment. I'll try to respond when I see them. So yeah.